businesses of Garden City, as well as the surrounding communities. Remember, we're working hard to promote our community and yours. Well, hello, everybody. It's Thursday, February 5th. Can I hear myself? Okay. Do you hear me all right, Richard?
What?
And you're listening to show number 232. I'm your host, Kerry. Joining me tonight is Wayne County Commissioner Richard LeBlanc. Richard, how you doing?
Yes, hi.
And today is National Weather Person's Day. Did you know that?
Yes, hi.
So we'd like to wish our resident weatherman, Dr. Tom Iwinski, a happy Weather Person's Day. Tom, how you doing?
Thank you. It's the only day out of the year that people are actually grateful for my forecast, especially recently.
Yeah, Richard's loving this.
We're grateful for you, not the forecast.
Hey, and also I want to welcome Mike Jones. How you doing, Mike?
Doing great, Kerry.
Nice to see you again. All right, welcome to the show, and welcome to those that are listening online and in the chat room, and to those that will be watching us on our YouTube channel later. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate your support. Tonight, we welcome back to the show State Representative Robert Kosowski, who represents the 16th District, which includes our neighbors of Wayne and Westland. We're looking forward to talking with Robert. Tom will be here shortly with all the latest weather for us, and if we're going to get any more snow, I know Richard wants to know that. That nasty four-letter word. And Holly and Joey are back with their 2-minute gardening tips. We can always think spring, I guess, when they come on, huh? We also have some community announcements for you as well, so why not stick around for the next 60 minutes or so? Should be a good show. You can join us here tonight via our chat room by going to our main show page at TalkShoe.com. Search for show ID 82757. Once you're there, just click on the large Join In button, sign in as a guest, and that's all there is to it. Now, when you're in the chat room, you can type your questions or comments at the bottom of the page, and you'll find our phone number and show ID there as well. Now, to call in, the phone number here is, what is it, Richard?
The phone number here is 724-444-7444.
444.
And then you can enter caller ID 82757 and the pound sign.
Very good.
Yeah, I know.
You can always text your questions or comments to us at 734-788-9319. Don't forget, once you're on the main show page, you'll see all 232 shows there where you can download and listen at your convenience whenever and wherever you want. It's also a great idea to get caught up on any shows you may have missed. We're also in iTunes for your convenience. Just search for GC Community Chat. And we're doing a video recording of tonight's show, so you can always put a face with the voice, and the video will be made available later on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/communitychatshow. We have several other shows over there for you as well. So please sit back, grab your favorite beverage. We have, and we hope you enjoy the show. Now, last week we had mentioned how people can still donate to Billy Riddle Fund. For those of you that don't know Billy, he is a resident of the community here, and he's been battling cancer out of U of M Hospital. We now hear that the doctors have done all they can for Billy, and they are making him as comfortable as possible. But the medical costs still continue, so if you would like to still donate to the family, you can do so by writing a check made payable to Merriman Road Baptist Church or to Faith Riddle, Billy's wife, and mail it or hand deliver it to the church. Now, the address of the church is 2055 Merriman Road in Garden City, and it's 48135. Okay, before we go any further, let's get the latest weather update with Doppler Tom. Then we'll get to Joey and Holly here, followed by our guest, Representative Kosowski. Let's hear from Tom. Okay, let's do a check on weather with Doppler Tom. Let's see what he has in store for the rest of this week and the weekend coming up. Tom, take it away. All right, enough of this. Brr.
Well, yeah, the cold and the snow, we had enough.
Yeah.
We turned the calendar month, and February started out like a bang. I remember, I will take responsibility. I remember on last week's show, I said that storm was going to go to the south. You can listen to the show. I'm the man of my word. Well, that night, the model started changing, and it started to go more north. And I was like, uh-oh. And then Friday, it started to go even more north, and then Saturday, it was over us. So weather models can always change, and I did say that in my segment, that it was questionable that the track could have changed, but yeah, that track was perfect for us to get a long duration snow event, and that is what we've seen. We saw snowfall totals over a foot of snow. We had some wind as well, and that created a lot of snowy drifting and blowing snow, and that even exacerbated some of the snow amounts on the ground and in the sidewalks and all that. So, yeah, it was a pretty big storm, long duration storm, and it kind of continued as we had throughout the following days. We've seen some lake effect snow. We've seen even some more synoptic snow. So it's been a pretty busy pattern over the last few days. We've seen close to, locally, we've seen close to 15 inches of snow. And at the airport where they measure the snow, they've seen a little bit more snow. They've seen over 17 inches. And that's the third biggest storm in the history of Metro Detroit. So this one definitely has gone in the record books. And
You remember number 2?
the good news is we saw some sunshine today. Although it was cold, we seen some sunshine, and the snow did taper off. So we didn't get any more snow today. And the good news is I don't see any big
My
snow.
wife was 8 months pregnant with our youngest daughter.
Another disturbance that's going to move in this weekend. But part of tonight, we'll see those clouds start to increase a little bit of high.
I mean, it was 16 inches easy. You remember that?
Minus 10. So another bitter cold day.
Yeah, okay.
Check it out.
Yeah, okay.
Friday, more clouds out there.
Uphill.
Anyways, 5 bare feet.
Clouds and sun out there, and it's going to be, temperatures are going to be close to the freezing mark all weekend. So some of that snow will continue to melt out there, but not at a alarming rate. So the snow is still going to be out there. And then on Sunday, we have a little bit of a disturbance moving in. At this time, it looks like it'll be kind of a mixed bag of precipitation, a little ice and a little snow. So we have to stay tuned to that storm system. But it doesn't have a lot of moisture. So it's not going to be any significant cold. And then as we get into next week, I don't see any other big storm systems to deal with. But bad news is that we're in February. The cold weather is going to be sticking around. Below average temperatures are going to continue probably through the rest of the month, and all of next week will probably be in the 20s for highs and teens for the lows. So another cold next week to deal with, but not a whole lot of snow chances next week. Just a lot of clouds and some sun at times as well. So that's some good news. And as we expand out and talk about some other weather going on, the jet stream is like a roller coaster all across the United States. It's going to be at its highest point, if you will, in a roller coaster across the plains. So the plains, Texas all the way to Dakota is going to see some milder air. So that's some good news. Again, we're hoping to get into some of that, but we aren't. But they'll see temperatures in the 70s and 80s, so that'll be pretty nice. The Northeast is going to stay cold and snowy, and they definitely don't want any more snow because they see storm after storm after storm of just a lot of snow out there, but they're going to stay cold and snowy as well. And some good news for the western United States, we'll see two storms move through, especially in Northern California and Washington. A lot of work out there, so that will help the drought a little bit. But the bad news is that Southern California is not going to see much rain out of this. So not the best news for Southern California, but they'll get anything they can take. So that's overall the weather going on across the United States and here. And the good news is that I think the worst has passed in the weather business. I don't see any bigger storms in, so that's some good news. But if you want to be tuned to the weather, just go to my website, weather.com.
Right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
You got a lot of well wishes today, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did. And I've been pretty busy, so appreciate it.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Okay, well, let's get Holly and Joey in here and get their 2-minute segment on gardening. Let's see what they got.
This is Gardening in 2 Minutes. As gardeners, we love to plant a variety of different vegetables and fruits in our garden. But we also don't want to overlook those that have made and held the test of time, that are tasty, and an heirloom that have been passed down for generations. We're talking about the American leek.
The American leek it's very similar to an onion, like a milder taste of an onion or a green onion, but they're larger. They're usually about 1 inch to 2 inches in diameter, and they're very tasty with pretty much any dish you want to add a mild onion flavor to. Definitely good in soups, and definitely good in different things like stir fries. Like I said, any dish you want to add some onion flavor to.
Now, there's a variety of different types of leeks. The American flag leek is one of our favorites. It's a great heirloom. And unlike onions, where you can only grow onions based on the variety, if it's a long day, short day, or a neutral day onion, leeks is universal. You can grow them anywhere. They're more of a cool weather crop, but there are tips and techniques on how to plant them. Now, we have been very successful at growing leeks over the years to where we've had them as large, and if not larger, in some instances, as the size of broom handles. And they're easy to store. You can pull them up throughout the winter months as you need to use them. Or if you want to do a clean harvest, bring them in, clean them up. You can also chop them and freeze them as well.
Right, you can freeze them. And the nice thing about leeks is that they don't take up a lot of space because they don't have to worry about them bulbing out. They just go directly in the soil.
Yeah, so it's a very enjoyable, easy plant to grow. If you've never grown leeks, we would surely recommend it. If you're having difficulty in growing onions, leeks is a very good alternative that takes up a very little amount of space. For more information on leeks and leek growing techniques, our weekly video productions, as well as our free downloadable digital quarterly magazine, you can find all that information at
the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com.
For the health-conscious organic gardener worldwide. For Gardening in 2 Minutes, I'm Joey Baird.
And I'm Holly Baird.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Leekly.
Another good leak of leaks.
Another good leak of leeks. All right. At this time, Richard's a real comedian tonight.
Yuck, yuck.
All right. At this time, I'd like to introduce our guest for tonight, State Representative Robert Kosowski. Robert, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Great, Kerry. Thank you for having me back.
All right. Is your mic on there? Yeah, there you
Yes,
go.
now.
All right.
Sorry
you're good.
about that.
That's all right. So this is your second term, correct?
You are correct.
And you're limited to 3 terms, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
In the
Okay.
house.
In the house.
In the house.
In January, I see you were appointed Democratic Whip. Can you explain what that entails to our listeners, what that means?
Sure. Kerry, it's probably the biggest honor that I've had in a long, long time to be part of the leadership team, to follow in Richard's steps as he was the approach chair and everything else there. It's great to have leadership in your own cities. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing is you get a seat at the table, and you get to kind of set policy, set fundraising goals, and et cetera. And I'm so happy to be on it. But a lot of people ask me what a whip does.
Right.
And, it's not just counting votes. That's our biggest role. We have to make sure that our leadership team knows where everybody's going on some votes. And that is our main job. But it's also about wrangling some members in. It's also about getting information out of their side, seeing what they're thinking. And we need to be prepared. And I've taken this, like it's a huge job. And so far it's been good.
Good, good. So let's see what else we got here. I just wanted to get to this list that we had.
Just had a challenge among the
Yes.
faithful, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. You know what? And that one, that's all going to work out.
Good.
When you have 47 different personalities in one room, you have to expect that there's going to be some things happening. Mm-hmm. In fact, the gentleman, he sits right next to me, and he's, I call him brilliant. Sometimes he channels his energy different ways, and eventually he'll be back. We can't lose any more members. We're already down 63 to 47. So they don't even need us on the other side on any policy issue, but Harvey Santana will be back.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about last year, your last term, what you accomplished. Do you think you met your personal expectations there?
Well, I like to do everything on a grading scale, so I'm probably going to give myself a B, which isn't too bad. And the only reason I say that is when you look at policy, I think I was very strong in policy. Mm-hmm. I had 5 bills, 5 PAs that were passed.
Okay.
I was in the top 3 in our caucus, and there were returning members. I think the highest was 8, and I had 5. And I believe another person had 5 or 6. I'm not sure. So if you look at it that way, it was a great year. There were a few things that I really wanted to get done that didn't get done, but I'm working on them now. But I can tell you the biggest thing was the passing for Brian Wolke's bill to rename part of Ford Road the Memorial Highway.
Yeah, that was nice.
You know, it wasn't a struggle, but I have to tell you, I was thinking it wasn't going to get done.
Wow.
And I just think it's a great thing for the city, and I want to thank everybody for helping me on that, going from the fire chief to Mayor Weil to Richard LeBlanc to Glenn Anderson. I mean, we all put our hands in this, and I'm glad Governor Snyder signed it.
Yeah, that's a great thing. What about some of the committees for 2015, 2016 you're going to be on?
You know what? I am very lucky this year on committees. Last year I was on a lot of social committees. It dealt with, you know, a lot of, you know, family matters and stuff. This year I'm really in the meat and potatoes on it. And when you look at insurance with everything that's going on in Michigan, that's the committee to be on. And I'm also on energy policy.
Oh.
And everybody knows about energy. I mean, we need to make a concentrated effort
Yeah.
on making sure that there's enough on the grids and so forth, find alternative energy and so forth. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, that's one of my passions.
Well, our energy infrastructure is so old, too. I mean, what do you think is going to be done about that?
Well, you know, it's really key that everybody has to realize that the coal plants are going to be closing. I mean, they're closing now. The one in Muskegon, or not Muskegon, Marquette is slated to close. A couple around here are slated to close. So
that's because of the Clean Air Act?
Yeah, right. And EPA set out guidelines. So we have to find alternatives for it. Now, we did a good job. We met the 2015 mark of 10%, but a lot of that was solar energy. And I'm good with solar.
Expensive.
Yeah, and wind. Most of it was wind, actually. And, you know, if you go up in, like, the Baldwin area, you'll see 100 huge turbines there. And I don't think I'd want to live by those.
No.
But we have to come up with a solution.
Right.
We started yesterday on it. So we had a lot of briefings. We had a couple committee hearings. And I think it's going to be a good group.
We talked about this a little bit last week with Senator Kosowski, and you like coal, don't you? I mean,
Well, I think until you find a viable alternative.
right, a better alternative.
It's a proven method of production. I mean, you know, so without getting into an argument with folks that may disagree with the use of coal, my position is until you get something that is truly sustainable and affordable,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
we
the
have
thing.
that.
I mean, solar's great, but it's expensive.
Correct.
And then what happens when you don't have the sun out?
Exactly.
You know, so
Well, the other one is natural gas.
Yeah,
That's what
natural
everybody's
gas.
leaning on. Well,
Yeah.
if you look at the cost right now, sure, it's a great alternative.
Today.
But what happens
Yeah.
in 8 years?
Yep.
You know, we got to look at that because it's in abundance. That's what they're claiming.
Yeah,
But the
exactly.
cost is going to go up. We all know that.
yeah, for sure. So what? Go ahead, Mike.
How do you think nuclear is going to be?
You know what?
Part of that.
I'm looking into nuclear, but at first glance, I can tell you I've done a lot of tours, and what they do there is quite amazing. I mean, the safeguards that they have in place. Because I have to tell you, when I went down to Fermi, you know, we walked in the towers and the stacks. We walked by the pits, and I have to tell you, I'm like, wow. But I mean, there's guards everywhere. The precautions they take are amazing, and I am open ears to hearing more about nuclear.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's probably the way to go, really. But you know, like you said, safeguards, boy.
Right.
People are cautious about it.
They are.
Well, plus the fact you got to get rid of the waste.
True.
Yeah, the waste.
True.
Yeah.
Well, they're burning it now for energy too. There, you know, a new bill just passed to burn tires, which I voted no on just because of the environment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of nasty, isn't it?
Right.
What about some of the bills you're going to introduce?
Well, you know, I reintroduced a few that didn't go through last year, but I remember on the show last year I talked about adoption stuff, and that's one of my passions. We have been looking to find a way. We've worked with, you know, DHS, Health Services, and so forth about making sure that adoptive parents get the same things that a natural birth mother has, and that includes time off. Now, the Family Leave Act covers a lot of that, where you know you get 12 weeks off, but it's unpaid.
Unpaid, right?
So
people can't afford it.
Right. So I have a series of bills. My first one, which it won't go anywhere. I know that. I started high. I shot for the moon, but it was to get 4 weeks paid by a company after the birth of a child if they have 50 or more employees. And there's a lot of guidelines. You have to at least be in that job for a year and so forth. And you know, the reason I did this, a lot of people have asked me,
Get
why,
some dialogue going.
Yeah, why are you doing this? I mean, we have to pay this. I go, I understand that. But you know what? That kid is going to be so good. I mean, 4 weeks means a ton. I had to go to work right when I adopted my child. My wife stayed home, but I went to work. So we brought him home on Sunday, and I had to go to work on Monday. Now, I could have taken it off, but, you know, my wife was home. It's a good alternative if both parents can stay home. And if they can get paid, it will help.
Yeah, I like that.
And then the other one that I'm working on is it's the Child ID Protection Act. And I have to be quite honest with this one. This one isn't mine.
Okay.
I served on Family, Children, and Seniors last year, and Representative Kavanaugh at Redford introduced this. Well, I went up to him after, and there was some components of the bill that I worked on him with, and he was termed out. And I talked to him if he minded, because I really love this bill. And he said, please do. And I told him I'd give him the credit for it because it's his bill. But, you know, there's a lot of fraud going on in foster care with the kids. So what would happen is the DHS worker, when they go in, they would have to do a credit report to make sure that things are going all right. And the way he described it, I mean, everybody on the board, the panel, agreed. We want to make sure if a child's in foster care, there's no fraud going on.
Right.
And anything to do. So credit scores will come out. We'll see everything that's happened. Not us, the caseworker. And I think that one, it's already been referred to the committee. I think I have a pretty good chance. In fact, all 3 of the adoption things are in committee already.
Oh,
so
wow,
it'll be
cool.
in the next couple of weeks. So that's pretty good coming only 1 month in.
Absolutely. Very good. What about the school bus seatbelts? The last time you were here, that was kind of a big deal going on. But
can we get some earplugs for Richard? He doesn't want to hear this. I'll tell you, I have done more radio interviews on this subject, this and child care, than anything. But this
so
is
it died, right?
It didn't die. I didn't get a committee hearing.
Okay.
And I was working with the chairman on the other side on this, and I think we ran out of time, but the new transportation chairman sent me a questionnaire to fill out who's for it, who's against it, and so forth. But I have not changed my mind on this. I really believe that seatbelts should be on a school bus. And as I said last time I was on the show, you know, the school bus drivers are worried about, do they have to strap them in? And my thought process is, kids get in the car now and do it themselves, and you have a big mirror, you can kind of check, get your seatbelt on. I know it's going to be tough in the start. But the other thing I want to say, it's only for new school buses. Eventually, every school bus will have, I don't want to hardship a school district.
Right, because of cost, yeah.
Because of cost. And it's $8,000 around there to do that. So what I thought is to only have it on new ones, not to go back and retrofit, because that's where there's problems.
Right.
But I also had a companion bill, that sinking fund that cities have. And not all cities have them, but if you do have it, you're able to tap into that.
Right.
And the key to that one is it's just not to pay for the seatbelts. You can buy your buses out of there. I think that helps your budget pretty well.
Yeah, that would.
Richard's still shaking his head, but that's okay. We agree on about 10% of the stuff.
So what is it? It's the cost, Richard, that concerns you, or what? Or you just don't feel it's necessary to strap the kids in?
The category of that vehicle and the amongst the experts that choose to talk about it is such that seatbelts are not, in a reasonable way, guaranteed to provide the effect that's desired. Michigan State Police has commented on this for 30 years, 40 years. For example, we rely on them for our public safety data, whether it's crash data or trend or history or whatever. And their position continues to be that it's not what it would appear on the surface to be. And I trust that. And the cost issue is something, maybe I wouldn't say that would be the issue that would cause me to not be supportive. It's not as though if the school buses had them that I would insist kids don't use them. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's just that it's a shift in the paradigm. That's all. I mean, but I guess in defense of those who like the idea, the same could be said of cars in the 60s.
Yeah.
And, seatbelts were an option back then. And very few people chose to pay the extra money for it. The government eventually decided that was good for us. And so,
if you don't click it,
helmets.
If you don't click it, it's ticket. It probably should be the same for kids on a school bus, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I do want to say one thing on that, and it is because my son, when he got on the bus one day and they pulled up, the school bus driver didn't have a seatbelt on. So, I mean, there's a big glass window
Oh,
there.
the bus driver didn't
have it on. But that here nor there. But 5 states already enacted it. I mean, what I like is conversation.
Yeah.
When I put something out there, I'm not the guy that jumps in the water. I'm the guy that puts my foot in the water, see how cold it is first or hot.
Yeah, test it.
Yeah, I want to test everything. A lot of things that I do, I'm more or less testing to see who's for it, who's against it. I respect Richard's comments because he's right on some things. But I also want it to be out there. Some. I didn't
I'm the guy
very damn little.
I'm the guy that pushes people in the water.
Exactly.
You can test your little pinky toe, and I'm behind you pushing.
But there's not slam dunks everywhere. I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
Because it would be.
But like you said, getting the dialogue going and
all I
getting
want.
other people's thoughts on it, I mean, that's half
We're
the
getting a
battle
lot of
right there.
conversation. Same thing with my child care bill. I mean, I've had so many calls that were unbelievable and emails. I also had retrospect. I had the other side that said, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because, you know, what I'm trying to do on that one is you can see by the variety of things I introduce and do, it's all about kids. They're our future. So the child care one is, I don't believe, unless job indicates it, that you should leave a kid in there for more than 11 hours. And I'm getting a lot of play on this. Now, I can play with those numbers. I can do a lot of things with that because it's just a starting point. You know, if you work 12 hours, there's exemptions and so forth.
Right.
But I do not think a kid will learn in 13 hours. He won't have that bonding. And then what do? Go home, put him in bed, him or her?
Yeah,
Let's get
that's
some
true.
interaction going.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with
Well,
that.
thanks, Kerry.
I do agree.
That's why I like coming on this
Richard,
show.
what about you? You agree.
What about me?
You agree, right?
You know, some of the stuff that government tries to influence, you know, they'll influence by throwing extra money at it.
Yeah.
At
yeah,
times.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm not a fan of that. So if the proposal eventually were to contain or include extra money to buy buses to accomplish getting seatbelts,
Well,
that's not something that I would favor. But
Yeah.
because I view it similarly to some other recent things that have not proven to be successful. And I'll point to 2. And I know that there's a lot of debate over this, perhaps even in this room. I'm not a big fan of movie credits. Those we pay people to be here for a little bit of time, then they take all of our millions of dollars to a different state.
We disagree again.
that's really debatable.
Now,
there,
and you know, Governor Granholm was really big on alternative energy. We paid hundreds of millions of state tax dollars to companies who went bankrupt.
Yeah.
You know, we tried to force a new business, you know, alternative energy, battery storage, and wind, and this, and that, and the other. That was money just right out the window because government decided that that's what they wanted.
They pushed it.
I think the market takes care of some of that stuff, and I understand that's different than the seatbelt issue. But I'm not a big fan of government, you know, using tax dollars to influence something that they wish to have as a policy. And that's why, I mean, the movie thing, I entirely believe that. But different subject, of course.
Yeah, that's a different subject. And you're a big fan of the May vote, right?
Buy a toaster, fix a pothole.
You see, I left it there. I left it on the desk.
I had a conversation today at is it Precision Jeweler?
Precision.
Jeweler today, the grand opening at Westland. I had a conversation with a person about that, and he eventually said, "Well, I'm kind of leaning toward it because you know what else." And I said, "Oh, so you're okay if I buy that ring or that watch over there, and then that helps to support a transit system?" He said, "What?"
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I said, "Well, or a school district, or maybe a pothole. You know, I mean, there's a number of things that are going to be funded by that."
Well, speaking of road funding, what's your stand on that?
You know, this wasn't an easy one. In fact, I will go back all the way about 8 months ago, that we passed a plan out of the House that really went after the heavy trucks. Had a whole bevy of things, but it was only going to raise about $500 million, and that was out of the House.
Yeah.
So I was comfortable with that, you know, and I took a lot of heat on it about the trucks, but I firmly believe that, you know, don't overload them, you'll be all right. But then it went to the Senate. They came up with a different plan that was going to raise most of it, and I didn't really care for that plan. Next thing you know, there's a lot of haggling, negotiations. It didn't happen until last night we were there. I think it happened about 6 a.m. We started at 10 a.m. It was already 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And at that point, you know, you can argue a couple points. You can argue that it's democracy at its finest, that you're leaving it to the people. You can also argue it that we didn't do our job.
That's what I argue.
Right. Well, and a lot of people say that, and you know what? I'm not like out there pushing.
Yeah.
But if I voted yes, and I actually believe that because there's other components to this bill that I think are amazing, stuff that I've been fighting for since I've been there. Now, should that sell me? Probably not. But when you're giving all this money to school districts, which we're already hurting, I think it was about $400 million. That was great. They were talking about $100 million to locals, which we've hit our locals for 10 years now.
Yeah. True.
And there's a common denominator when you look at locals and how they're not surviving.
Yeah.
Everybody's not doing a bad job. So that was two factors. But the third one that I really thought was good was that they are going to do a comprehensive study to see what it costs to educate a child. Because we don't know. Why is it, I know it's Prop A, Kerry, but why is it that West Bloomfield gets $11,300 per student and Wayne Westland was only getting $7,000?
Yeah, there's definitely.
Every kid, is that education better there? Is it supposed to be? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that
but,
needs to be studied.
And one of the things in the budget, I voted yes because, I'm getting off the road flying, but I want to hit this because I voted yes on the budget, the governor's budget, because it helped Wayne Westland kids. $83 more per student. It got teachers in the room. They're not getting laid off. It helped with buses. We talk about buses all the time. It helped a bevy of things. How could I vote no on that?
Yeah.
There were things in the budget I couldn't stand, but it didn't hurt our community. This helped it. But the road funding, you know what? It's going to go to people. It's already there. If it goes down, we better have a plan in place. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And I've stated before, I mean, that pisses me off more than anything is for you guys to dump it on us and make the decision.
They abdicated their responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that.
They took the easy way out.
And I'm hearing that a lot. It's just
I'm
not
hearing
me,
it too.
You know?
I'm hearing
it. And I don't know. Are you for it?
I'm for it. I want.
You're going to vote for it?
Yes, I'm going to vote for it. I want it to pass.
I'm canceling his vote.
That's all right. My wife's voting for it too. I hope. I don't know what she's going to vote.
Cheryl's hers.
You know, I don't have the answer. But if you look around, all the states around us, the average is 6.9. Okay, on sales tax. We're at 6. So we're going to be in line. I don't usually look at other states and guideline things, but when you're going around, I'm thinking it's going to be all right. You know, tourism's going to come. We're going to have people spending money here. It's just not all of us putting money in it. But the key that I did not like is we did not talk truck weights, overload fees, my bill. And it's not my bill. Somebody else can take it and put their name on it.
But you have to enforce it, too. I mean, even if it's, you know what I'm saying?
True. But I did vote no on the registration hike. I've promised that from day one because now you're hitting the normal residents like you and me twice. On a sales tax and a registration, one or the other. Right. And that's my theory.
Yeah.
So since we got on that topic again, and I will take every opportunity I can to in a soft way, comment until we get close to May 5th. But this proposed 17% tax increase, and that's what it is, it's 17%, is because we're going to modify registration, we're going to assist our schools, we're going to restore to a degree the earned income tax credit, we're going to help fund public transit.
It's like a Christmas tree, isn't it?
We're going to assist local revenue sharing. We're going to remove a federal tax deduction that in an accumulated sense represents $102 million that the state of Michigan will not be receiving. And it's being sold as a roads bill.
Yeah.
But the fact is,
it's a tax increase.
More than $500 million of this 17% tax increase is not going to roads. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
$500 million.
So there's a lot of stuff hung on that.
There is. And then I'll get off the horse.
All right.
These items, nearly entirely, whether by the most previous legislature or going back several legislatures, these things were cut by the state legislature. Absolutely. Revenue sharing, cut. Transit monies, cut. Schools, cut. EITC, cut.
Now they're wanting to reintroduce all of it.
Most of this stuff was cut in Governor Snyder's first term. So they cut all of it. Then they used that money or saved that money for a state use as opposed to all these little local uses. And now they want us to repay it. That's crazy to me.
Well, what's going to happen with that, though, is it's in May. So the snow is going to be gone. People are going to get out there, and you know what the roads look like. Timing's perfect.
It is.
So I think people.
I mean, they're going to be worse than they ever been.
They're going to be bad. Yeah. I think in an estimation, people, they're going to say, hey, this is the only fix. But, you know, I also do worry about the sales tax when you increase it, even though we did pass the car sales tax on the difference if you trade it in. But when you go buy something now, are you going to stop and say, wait a second? I don't know.
On a big ticket item.
Yeah, if you go buy a cow.
Well, that's what we were discussing too. You know, just before the vote, there's probably going to be panic buying on all your big.
No
there'll
question.
be a big spike.
Yeah, there'll be a
big
spike.
ticket items,
Yeah.
then there'll be a big fall off.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's successful, there'll be a big fall off.
Well, you think it's going to pass, but
I don't.
I thought you said you.
Well, I did, but I'm tempering now. I don't know
I'm not thinking it's going to be a shoe.
I think the
really.
governor is going to be doing a
be
good
great.
job.
Oh, he's going to be
corralling
selling it.
folks to fundraise and support and be supportive. And I mean,
in
one of the
3
people
months.
that the representative and I spoke with this evening, you know, I asked him because he is part of a special interest group, and I don't say that negatively. I mean, they have a special interest, and I said,
Okay.
"Where are you folks going to be on it?" And he said, "I don't know. I'm not really
There's
sure.
a
I
lot
can tell you that our
undecided.
members don't like it,
Yeah.
but we like our governor. So it'll be interesting to see."
Yeah. Is he going to? Yeah.
And I do too. I don't like the proposal. I like the governor. I think the governor's done some great things for the state. Some of the other stuff, not so much. But
Yeah,
you know,
I
on
don't agree on
balance,
everything. That's for sure.
No, he's
But
done
I'm-
a good job, though. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the things he's done; it's been pretty good. But you know, the other thing is, I would have liked to seen something that maybe addressed it for a year or two. I don't know. I'm thinking outside the box here, and maybe not put something that's going to be restrictive like that. Maybe come up with a plan for 2 years, sunset it, and see just to get it going until we can come up with this great plan. I think this fell because that's all we had left. That's why I thought it happened.
Well, and
but
the
Richard
sales
makes a
tax-
good point that if it falls, Plan B is the legislators got to go back to work and come
Correct.
up with something else.
You know what?
And
My-
Unfortunately, it
And
may
then-
cost us another construction.
And then we're
season.
out
It
another
will.
season. Yeah.
But they will. They'll get it done. There's enough pressure. And, you know, in defense of the last legislature, when you're down to the nitty-gritty, when you're down to literally
But
the
it
last
shouldn't have got
day.
down there.
Well, but it does.
It
because
shouldn't have, though.
That's the process.
Yeah.
When you're down to that, you know, maybe it was the best that they could come up with.
It's
my
below the
objection
11th
is
hour,
just
man.
that
I
I
just
don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either.
And, you know, so aside from the regressive 17% tax increase, especially on our low-income earners, which really irritates me,
Yeah.
there's no nexus. There is zero nexus to me going to buy a toaster and helping to fix a pothole. There's no nexus there at all. It is a general sales tax obligation that will, in a 2/3 sense, go to fix roads. The other third is not. $500 million is going elsewhere.
It's true.
Yeah, this road.
Something needs to pass, though.
It's going to be interesting. But yeah, and I mean, we need to do something. Mike, your thoughts? Anything?
You've heard them, and I share some of yours. I feel that they waited too long and ultimately abdicated their responsibility, threw it on us, put a bunch of things on the Christmas tree to try to get more groups to support it. On the other hand, we badly need to do something about the roads.
Yeah, we do.
And I don't want to see another season pass without addressing the lousy shape that those roads are in.
Yeah.
I'm tempted at this point, but we got 3 months to go, gang, to vote for it. But we're going to have an interesting 3 months. There's going to be a lot of discussion.
There's going to be a lot of commercials coming back on, that's for sure.
That was good. You'll have to watch the video to see that, folks.
And right back at you, man.
Oh, well, yeah, we could debate the road funding bill, I mean, forever
We will.
and ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as it gets closer to May, we will. I'm sure. We're going to.
I'd just like to say now, to change the subject a bit,
Yeah.
that as someone who's represented by the representative, you know, we're talking about his
Right,
service
exactly.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
There are few people that can come into the legislature in the minority and accomplish the things that he has.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
seriously.
That's
There are people who serve entire legislative careers, 6 full years in the House, that don't get a bill passed.
yeah.
There are hardly any that go through a year and get 5 passed. majority or minority, seriously. So, I mean, I was pretty fortunate because of my assignment, so I was able to get things done. But we were in the majority, and it makes a difference.
Yes, you were at the time. Big difference.
So when you're in the minority, it is, in my opinion, it's reflective of having a person there that's able to truly work the room, work across the aisle. You know, that we talk about the aisle all the time. There is an aisle.
You need to. You really do.
Republicans sit on both sides of it because there's so many. And those that wish to be parochial, wish to be partisan, they don't get things done. They don't.
Yeah, now more than ever, you got to reach across the aisle, man. It's just, I mean, you have to work together.
I didn't want to stop Richard because that was great.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But honestly, you learn from the leaders, and you know, I followed in Richard's steps. I'm not afraid to say that. You know, he had me up there a year in advance. We were looking at things, getting everything squared away.
Yeah,
and a lot of this stuff, I just followed his footsteps. So.
And, you know, another thing, we've talked with Senator Kosowski about this is, you know, you're only in there 2 years.
Right.
I mean, you're just getting started in 2 years, you know, on a lot of this stuff. And,
True.
And to pass what you have, that's really good.
It's been a good
really
year.
is.
And hopefully I come back with all these bills, because there's many more that we're not even talking about that are fixes to things or that help veterans.
Yeah, veterans, yeah, that's big.
In fact, I always like to give a
In
little
education.
carrot. I like to dangle a carrot when I come on this show, because our next one that
Holly and Joey.
you know, the last one was about the adoption credits and all that. This one we just submitted to the LSB agency who drafts the bills for us on our ideas, and this is something that will help the veterans, and I think it's one of the better bills around, and it came up in a 3-person round table with my 2 staffers and me, just thinking about, all right, we're doing all this for kids, we're doing here, we've already done a lot for veterans, and all of a sudden it just came up. And if this passes, I think you'll see some good things come out of it. That's all I'm going to tell you, because I can leave you hanging for a year.
Yeah,
again,
a little
right?
tease there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, we'll get you
You
back
got
on
to
that.
at least give us a title or an acronym or something.
Yeah,
You
anything.
can tell us later, oh, it was the Magoochitator bill.
Well, I can tell you this. It will allow veterans who,
What the hell?
you know, the veterans who gave up their whole life to start with, they had their life on the line for us.
Yeah.
And this little thing that we're going to do for them, I think they will see it and they'll say, thank you.
Okay.
Not to me.
All right. That's
But
good.
it's a good one.
Okay.
You'll like it. It's a 2-part bill. So
I chaired the Veterans Committee for 4 years. So, you know, I can say with qualification that we simply in the state are not we're not at the level we need to be with
No.
veterans. And
No,
there's
we're
a
not.
lot of reasons for that. I'm not pointing fingers when I say it. But veterans are special. Veterans, I know some folks may think, although they better not say it in front of us, veterans get a lot of stuff, but I think they get the stuff that politicians want them to get, as opposed to really the stuff that veterans want to get. So if you sit around,
that's a good point.
If
That
you
is a
sit
good
around the
point.
table and you're inclusive and you get the veterans' perspective,
Yeah.
and maybe not just one, but a few more, and
Right.
you listen to them. I mean, I learned a lot from folks that
You
are
do.
my age, older and younger, that have served. And you know, so that's good.
Yeah, I
good.
like it. I like that.
perfect.
Yeah, we're going to get you back here and
All
we'll
right.
talk about that.
That's why I keep coming on the show, as I give you a little dangling,
tease,
you know,
man.
yeah.
I like it. I like it. What about events? You're going to be having some events, you said.
You know, one of the biggest things that we decided to do is we really want to get out in the community. And that doesn't mean just free events. We do a lot of free things. But we will take any meeting. We'll go to any condo association. We'll go to any senior center. We'll do anything. And it's working pretty good because I want to hear what people think. That's who I represent. But I also like to do the free things. You know, like we had the free movie night, and we did it in Wayne. We're going to be doing another one here pretty quick. We're working on the date. Just recently we did for veterans. We gave out turkeys on
nice.
Thanksgiving. The day before Thanksgiving, you can come over to the Wayne Ford Civic, which was great because Vic Bear is an awesome guy.
Yeah, Vic, yes.
And it was so cold out there, and I told the guy I work with, I said, we're not going inside. I don't care. We're standing by this truck that we have, and when they'll see us, because we didn't have a big sign because it was kind of a late deal. And, you know, Myers helped us out with that, which
Awesome.
you know, local company. You can't, complain about that.
No.
But the veterans that came up, and I have to tell you about a letter I received. A young man came. He's probably about 45. He said, hey, my dad can't make it up here, but can I get his turkey? I said, of course. I go, just give me your name. What is it? You have to, register. So he gave it to me, and he started telling me about his dad. He was in World War II, and I was like, "Wow, it's unbelievable." He took the turkey home.
Left.
Yeah, he took the turkey home, and he called my cell number, and he wanted to thank me. And I said, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh, wow.
Thank you. And I'll tell you, it really resonated. And I told my staff, it was unbelievable that this gentleman who was in World War II and did all this thanking me for a $22 turkey.
Yeah.
That's the least I can do.
Wow.
So, and we had a lot of good success on it. Next year we're going to, Vic was talking, we're trying to get Richard involved and the mayor's involved. Maybe we're going to have a turkey dinner the day before. I don't know. We want to do something a little bigger, a little more special. Awesome. Maybe get a band in there for everybody. I don't know. We're working on it right now. We got a little bit of time.
Well, Vic's involved, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he's amazing. But we do a lot of things, the movie nights, the kids come out, and we have toothbrushes for them. We give them candy first, but then toothbrushes after. We have the Met system, which they can come, the parents, and learn about saving for college. Richard's looking at candy.
There's no licorice left.
Well, go ahead, then we'll give you a toothbrush.
And parents like it. They're like, well, this is something totally different. We had all this information. And I just love seeing people come in and get something and are happy. It's a great feeling.
Well, your counterpart, Julie's going to be on here next week. So,
well, let me tell you. Can I tell you something about her?
I'm going to hit her up on some of this stuff and see what she's doing.
Let me tell you about Julie. Julie is probably.
I like Julie.
She's amazing. She is probably the best thing that could have happened because Senator Kniezek left, who's a great friend of mine.
And she's been told several times she's got big shoes to fill.
Big shoes. But you know what I like about her? She has this positive energy that maybe you don't see all the time because maybe she's not wearing it on her face. But when she gets involved in an issue, she has passion that's unbelievable.
And follows it through.
Follows it through.
That's what you need.
And I'm not afraid to say this either. What I really like about her, she's not after anything. A lot of people go up there and they want titles and they want this. She don't want that. She wants to go and help the constituents. And I respect that. And she is a joy to work with. Now, I can't razz her like I razzed, Senator Kniezek when we were working together. But I'm very happy she's there. And now I get to work with two people from, Dearborn Heights, Garden City area. And it's awesome.
Yeah, we're excited to have her on next week. And I guess she got appointed to some committees, too, that she'll be discussing.
I served with her on one, so I'm not going to tell you which one.
Okay, awesome.
I mean, you only have two, so you guys have to figure it out. But
let's see.
Well, you say, is it this one? If I say no, you got it.
Yeah, so, we're looking forward to having her.
Sure. Coffee hours. You still having your coffee hours? We are, and I'll let Richard talk about this too, but I thought we really picked up momentum. It's at Mr. Mike's, and, Richard set me straight on this one because I'm one of these guys that I believe in, like, a traveling show. And I agree now, but, I do a thing now, Rep on the Road. That's where we go all these places. Okay. But when a coffee hour is there, it needs to be in one place because people are like, where are they at today? But if you have events, you can move them. And I know Richard talked me off the ledge on that one. Yeah. But we started off small, and I think we grew big. And people that come in are brilliant. I mean, the ideas they have, and they're not afraid to say what they have to say, which I like. Yeah, so you need that.
We've only had to kick one person out so far.
You did it.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah, we talked about it at Kerry.
Yes, we did. Yes.
But it's a great place where people know it's a standing meeting. And that's why when we talked about moving it, it's a standing meeting. You know that, darn it, if you missed it last week, you know that it's the second Monday of every month. And so, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, I like that.
One of the great things that we were able to do with cooperation of everybody really is, now I can't speak for the representative, but I know that Senator Kniezek and I, because we share two other coffee hours, we have everything on one day. Yeah. So we can tell folks, this is coffee hour. By the way, if you sleep in, go to the next one. Yeah. Because you're invited. It's an open invitation. Right. So.
Yeah, that's cool. So if people miss Westland, they can come to Garden City?
I know that.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you sleep in every day. So for
Not
example,
me.
Well, I call him.
The wife.
So he gets there.
Don't be talking about Mrs. Chat.
Oh, Mrs. Chat sleeps in, let me tell you. She got up early this morning, though. So anyway, I like the coffee hours. That's a good deal. I also noticed that you started the business of the month. I saw you've been posting it on Facebook. That's kind of cool.
I
like
did.
That.
It's one of the things that I decided that if you get a lot of people involved in this, it may lose it. And some people love it, and some other people like big deal. To me, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Two companies that
Give
I've
them a
already
shout out.
introduced it to. They love it. They think it's great that we're even thinking about them. You know, it's another thing I can look back and maybe I should have brought in like 4 or 5 people, but this was kind of like my award, my little staying up at night thinking, what can I do for businesses? A small token of appreciation, giving them a tribute, put them on my Facebook page, putting in our newsletter and stuff like that. And I know my ladies florists, they
appreciate
ecstatic
it.
because
Yeah.
they received a little more business. Hey, I seen this on the, and I get no cut, no commission. I mean, I don't want you thinking that.
Little
And
notoriety.
Yes.
Right.
And the Men on the Move was the last one. And, you know, it's just not about a company that, you know, oh, that company looks nice, you know, it looks good in there. It's about the owner, the workers who give back. And my problem now is I pick these myself. I get a lot of, you know, nominations. There is no nomination cycle. You can send me an inbox and all that. But what I do is when I'm out in the district, which I am a lot, it's like everybody else, I notice things. And when I see people doing great things for people, I write it down.
Okay.
And like,
So that's pretty much how you choose the business
well,
then?
that, and I mean, they have to be a good business, obviously.
Right.
But I'm looking at community things that they do, that they're involved in.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
my lady's florist never says no to any fundraiser. Men on the Move, he's always somewhere doing stuff.
Yeah.
And
He's the one this month, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the criteria that came. There's really no criteria except what's in my mind. And when I see something special, I'll write it down and I'll say, you know, next week
Yeah.
would be good. I don't think they'll win. But it's, you know, and a lot of people, they can hang it on their wall, and a lot of people repost it, which was really cool. Like my lady's florist, their
Yeah.
Facebook shared it everywhere, and they had all the comments on there. And I know Lisa Clayton Hicks tagged me today saying she wants to know more about it. So, I mean, people like it. It's one of those things. And so I figure I can only do 48 more of them. Until if I move up, which I plan on moving up, and hopefully it keeps going.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, they do. They appreciate the recognition, I'm sure, you know, and it's a good thing. I think we should do that in Garden City, too. I may do that.
There
with
you
the
go.
Garden City Business
Do it.
Alliance. I think it's a good
It's a good
idea.
deal.
I like it. I'll steal it.
You don't have to steal it. It's
You'll
out
give
there.
it to me?
I don't have to give it to you either. It's out there.
Mike, you have anything you want to ask the representative?
No, I think he's been very open and covered a lot of stuff with us.
Mike, I was expecting some tough comments here, questions. I was. So I'm off the hook today. Because you know I'm a Garden City guy. You know that, right?
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I went to school here. I grew up here. And
Yeah.
I always said I wish, you know, the Senate district was still the same, where it had Westland and Garden City in it.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
Oh,
Did
yeah,
I
we'd
just say
love to
Senate
have you.
district? I did.
Well, you can come visit us anytime.
I do. You
that.
know what? Garden City is a great community. I love coming here. I love coming to the park. I go everywhere. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anything else you wanted to cover?
You know, not really. We kind of hit a lot of things. You know, if you want to watch my stuff online, you can look at it. There's a bill tracker.
I was
and
going to
so
ask
forth.
you your contact information if you want to give that
Yeah.
out, phone number or anything.
Well, you know what? The biggest thing is if you just go on the State of Michigan website and
Okay.
you can click on a legislature. That's the easiest instead of me giving the name. And that's the easiest way. And all my numbers are on there. All my pages. You can do a bill tracker.
You're
You
on
can see
Facebook.
Facebook.
Just search for.
It's only Robert Kosowski. I'm probably going to change that, put state rep on it. I've had a lot of people telling me to do that, especially when I'm doing stuff like this, because they're like, well, who's Robert Kosowski?
Right, right.
So I'm probably going to do that next. I wasn't thinking about that. But, you know, you can follow a lot of our stuff. But the biggest thing is, and I'm trying to get out to people, is I work for you. And I want to hear it. I have no problem walking into a condo meeting where there's 100 people in there, and maybe 100 of them are against something I'm doing. That's fine. Maybe I can turn them on it, or maybe I'll get an idea from them.
Right.
A lot of good legislation comes from the constituents.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to hear. So I'm really pushing that, Kerry.
Well, that's what's great about you and Richard and Julie and David. You're all transparent and you're all available, and I think that's why we like you guys so much. So
Well, we like you
just
too,
keep
Kerry.
doing the job you're doing,
Thank
and
you.
we really appreciate you coming
Not a
tonight.
problem. It's always enjoyable here.
Hang around, and if you'd like.
I will.
All
Thank
right?
you.
Okay.
All right.
Richard, you have anything else you want to say?
About our representative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna pump 'em up anymore, or?
We talk every day, right?
Yeah, you were both at that jewelry store opening. That was nice.
You should have seen the ring Richard bought.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Cheryl, listen to this.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry.
Now you're into jewelry?
It was beautiful. He had to put a down payment on it. That's all I can tell
Yeah,
you.
my wife saw that too. She
Civil
Kerry
servant,
Parton.
you know.
Who are the owners there anyway? What's their name? Do you want to give them?
Ansara family.
Okay.
They own multiple businesses.
Okay.
So yeah, they do very well.
And they're good for the community then.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Robert. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Yep. And come back anytime,
I will do that.
All right.
Except
Let me.
next week.
Yeah.
We got Julie here, so we don't need you next week.
Well, you can stop by if you want to say hi. Back door will be open. All right. The Garden City Council wanted me to remind everybody that the next council meeting will be Monday, February 9th at 7 p.m. at City Hall, 6000 Middle Belt Road. Richard, you think you're going to make that or what? You haven't been to one in a long time.
I've been there more recent and more often than you have, so Thanks. I don't want to hear it.
You were getting furniture last time.
Yeah.
That's what you told me.
Yeah, I know. I said that because that's what you said the last time.
He sends Nancy.
So, let's see. The 9th?
Yeah. Yes, February 9th.
Nope, Mary's going to be there. I'm going to be in... Where am I going to be?
I don't know, but you better start showing some love to Garden City, buddy.
ACP meeting, perhaps. Yeah, well, I might stop in for that. You never know.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, the council urges all residents to attend. Also, I want to mention that the State of the City address by Mayor Walker will be held February 24th at Albert's on the Alley. A free continental breakfast. That's right, Richard, free. Will be provided at 8 a.m., so you're going to have to get up early, set that alarm.
Paid for by the DDA, by the way.
Absolutely. I was going to say that. Paid for by the DDA, by the way.
Paid for by the DDA.
By the way.
By the way.
And then the mayor's speech will be held at 8:30 a.m. Albert's is located at 5651 Middle Belt Road. You have to RSVP by February 20th by calling 734-261-2830 or email Teresa at downtowngardencity.com. Okay, let's get Richard in here now. Let's see what's new with him. I know there's something new with you.
Yeah, like what?
Well, Mr. Evans had a press conference today,
he did,
and let's talk about that a little bit. Evidently, his predecessor Ficano said that the deficit was $60 million, and Evans says it's $70 million. They got underfunded pension system, and property tax reserves are down by $100 million since 2008. So what gets cut? Are we going to get an emergency manager? What's happening?
Well, I'll start with what gets cut. Today, today, the presentation was only the financial picture beginning now and for the next 5 years.
And it isn't really.
So there were no recommendations offered today as to how we climb out, dig in, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So the question, however, was asked, are you working on a deficit elimination plan or some other instrument that will allow us to know what you perceive as the necessary steps to address this?
Right.
The response was yes. The timeline, 3 to 4 weeks. So there'll
Sooner
be
than
much
I
more
thought.
to talk about in a month.
Okay.
Right now, really what it is the hole is deeper than folks were led to believe,
Getting it out there.
comma,
Yeah.
as per the folks that the new county exec hired.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there was no dispute. I mean, people didn't jump up and say, no, that's not true. So we have a big hole. Part of the difficulty is that our pension and other post-retirement benefit obligations
Legacy costs
are enormous.
Yeah.
It was acknowledged. We have thousands of retirees, but we have a high percentage of those folks who didn't serve a traditional 25-year. I mean, in the private sector, it's 30-year. But a lot of folks didn't serve 20 years.
And there's some
they
pretty
got a
sweet
big pension.
pensions out there. Yeah. Yeah.
And
You've talked about
lifetime
that.
health care for all of those that are within that
Lifetime.
family or whatever. Wow. So, yeah. So
Wow.
it's dire.
Yeah. A lot of stuff got to
But
be looked at
that's
there.
not new. We've talked about this for a long time.
Yeah.
And there was significant progress made last year. The deficit last year was 3 times that. With one-time money, it was brought down.
Well, you're not getting the property tax revenues either anymore now. I mean, that's
Yeah.
wow.
Well, Mayor Duggan has also ordered a reexamination of assessment within the city of Detroit because folks acknowledge that for a long time properties have been overassessed, or to simplify it and put it in layman terms, people have been overtaxed unfairly for a long time, and the mayor wants to make that right.
Wow.
That will affect city of Detroit income. That will affect Wayne County income. That will affect a lot of things. But it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
and
it is. But but there's a lot of people have moved out. I mean, you got a lot of vacant homes now. The revenue just isn't there. People aren't paying their taxes on these abandoned homes, the property and that. They're not. Are they going after these people for taxes?
Yes, they are. But if you have a property that, excuse me, let's just say that it's in a not so great area. It has very little value. Yeah. The effort really is to get somebody to assume responsibility for the property as opposed to try to go back and collect, because let's face it, oftentimes these people are very skilled in not paying taxes.
Yeah.
And so, whether it's called chalk it up and move on or whatever, the fact is that the mayor is working toward getting these properties into the hands of people that will own them, improve them, pay for them, etc. But this is a multi-decade effort. This is not something that can be resolved overnight, even in the next year.
Oh, I know. It's huge.
It's big.
It's big.
And we're talking big dough. One of the statements that caused everyone pause was, if things continue as they are, but they won't, but if they did continue as they are, the county would be out of cash in the fall of next year, unable to pay bills. One of the big differences between the city of Detroit, for example, and Wayne County, is that Wayne County has borrowed from itself. So Wayne County has several funds.
Yes.
It would borrow from this fund to pay that. It would borrow from that fund to pay this. The city of Detroit, by contrast, borrowed from lending institutions and other folks that lend. So their problem was different than ours. And bankruptcy assisted them in a way that the county would not benefit from. So it'll be interesting to see what the final recommendations become, and then it'll be even more interesting to see what the county commission chooses to do with that.
Right.
And depending on all of that, whether the state elects to step in or not.
With the EM.
So,
and there's still
a lot of stuff that we'll learn.
That's still on the table, isn't it?
I think it's always on the table. Sure.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that we'll learn.
Especially when we find out the hole's deeper than we thought it was.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to minimize it.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not that great. I mean, really. It's a lot of money for you and me.
Yeah.
But it's 1/7 larger than it was purported to be. Okay, that's a lot of money. Yeah. But we didn't go from 60 million to 300 million, for example.
Right.
To me, one of the bigger issues is the jail. We wasted $160 million.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up right there.
When I say I don't mean me.
Let's dump the jail. Let's do something. Move on that.
I think it's a multifaceted.
Is that going to be part of his 3-week?
Don't know.
Deal?
Don't know.
You can assume maybe.
We have obligation there, so I would say that it almost has to be a part of the plan.
Yeah.
Whether there's a solution attached to the plan that involves the jail, I wouldn't go that far yet, because that really, without being disrespectful, is separate and aside from the day-to-day operation of the county and our debt.
The jail is?
Well, in this conversation it is.
Yeah.
That whole piece of business, certainly there's money that's been spent and continue to be spent there that could have been spent elsewhere. But we're talking, for example, we were told today, people hired after X date, and I'm going to say 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly what the date was. The post employment or retirement benefits for those folks have been funded at a level of 0. None. Not a single penny.
Wow.
And the recommendation, no. The chart that we saw said if we took 10 years of adding $40 million per year, we can improve our standing to an acceptable level,
10 years,
barring
40
anything
million.
that we don't see at this point. But that $40 million would just have to materialize. It doesn't exist today.
Yeah,
So it was an
we're going
example.
to pull it out of. Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Yeah. And I see he appointed an assistant executive or associate, or what do you call it?
Yeah. I think they call it
female.
assistant executive. Yeah.
Do you know of her, or?
I know who she is, but we're certainly not friends or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But she comes with high credential.
Come from the airport too,
Airport,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seems
so
there was
his
another
team,
one from the
his team
airport.
is filling in. My hope is that they get a CFO, a money person in there soon.
Yeah.
Because, we're in essentially week 6 of the new year, and we don't have a CFO yet because the former CFO was terminated by the new county exec.
Oh. I don't think we knew that, did we? I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, they do. They need a money guy in there, or a woman.
Right.
So what else you have? Anything else?
Yes. So something I've been working on for about 10 days
Okay.
is pretty darn irritating.
Uh-oh.
There'll be a lot more to say in about 2 weeks, perhaps a little bit more. Certainly not less than 2 weeks.
Ooh.
But it involves our water sewer issues.
Uh-oh.
So the Detroit Water Sewer Division and the Great Lakes Water Authority combined, there is an authority and board relationship that the 3 counties, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, through state intervention in law, had to consider adopting, or X would happen if you didn't do that. So last September and October, various folks went around to the counties and sold this new thing. Part of the sale job was a number of elements in this proposal, but including a 4% maximum water rate increase to residential customers, 4%, for 10 years, first 10 years of the 40-year agreement.
Okay.
That was pretty big. That was very significant.
Yeah, it was.
Me,
Big deal.
speaking only for myself, it's what put me over and said, okay, I'll support it. I didn't like some things about it. I did like other things about it. I was concerned about the rate increases because they can just be whatever they felt like they could be. But
But for 10 years, they can't raise that any higher than 4%
per year.
per year. Okay.
So I heard through the grapevine that the increase was going to exceed 4%.
Uh-oh.
In fact, significantly increase over 4%.
Oh, no.
So I made a few calls, and as recently as yesterday, I spoke with the chairman of the board of the authority and had confirmed for me. And so,
Confirm the rumor is being correct?
yes.
Oh, boy, here we go.
And so, amongst the things that I said was, I recall being told publicly in meetings, and I wasn't the only one there, and by the way, I never missed a meeting, maximum 4% rate increase.
Kids never get this excited about cleaning teeth.
You want
I
a
don't
green?
blame them for
The
not
dogs
getting
do.
concerned about
The heck?
or excited
Watch them
about
go
cleaning
wild
teeth.
for an irresistible treat that fights
That is
tartar and
very
freshens
funny.
breath.
What is that?
Greenie's Dental Chews.
Whoever did it, bravo. That was very good.
That was good. I don't know who did it.
So, apparently there's language that says revenue requirement, and there was an assumption and an interchangeable use of the word rate. And I said, this is lawyer legalese. I'm telling you as a layperson, here's what I heard. It was not challenged or corrected. And I received agreement when I was saying these things. And the bottom line is there's going to be a couple of meetings coming up that I'm going to be attending. One private that I got invited to with 3 other people, and one that's going to be public in Dearborn in a couple of weeks. And I want to hear, I've seen the letters that these folks have distributed, and I want to see how they get their way out of this. I find it very irritating.
Yeah, I'd light them up. That's for sure.
If it ends up being true, I'm going to go with the assumption that I was fleeced.
Yeah.
And that I was sold a bill of goods.
You and everybody else.
And so I told my colleagues today at the Wayne County Commission meeting.
Yeah, how they feel about this. Same way.
My thoughts. I was somewhat brief. Probably took me 2 minutes to share everything.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, more than just a few were unaware of this completely.
So they were.
But a couple are aware of it, and I heard nobody on the commission say that they disagreed with my assessment. So
Okay.
let's see what happens. I've got our
Probably a couple
I've got our
weeks.
county fiscal folks working on it as well.
Yeah, that's wrong, man. Just
Well,
wrong.
I think so.
Wow. Yeah, that is irritating. Very.
So we'll see.
So to be continued on that in a couple
To
weeks,
be
maybe.
continued.
Okay.
And aside from that, I got nothing.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, what do you got for us?
Well, you already checked off some of my events that you mentioned. I've been writing them down. Don't forget the seniors' Valentine's Day party on February 13th at
Okay.
Maplewood Center.
So I don't have to announce that.
Yeah, you can check that off your list. I've been checking off
Okay.
State of the City, et cetera, on my list.
Cool.
On the 26th, the Garden City Kiwanis Key Club, which is our high school organization, is having their Empty Bowl fundraiser at 6:30,
Uh-huh.
where the proceeds will go to help a hunger group that they've designated. I'm not sure who they picked this year,
Mm-hmm.
but people can come into the high school cafeteria. They can get a great meal of soups and chilies that the kids have prepared, so you don't go away hungry. And
Mm-hmm.
there'll be baskets to bid on. There'll be auctions. There'll be raffles and all kinds of stuff that'll be part of it. But it's usually a fun event, and you certainly don't go away hungry.
I won a lot of stuff last year.
Did you?
I bought for a song.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to keep the bowl,
I
too.
gave a
they
lot
make.
of it away.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
right. They do make a ceramic bowl, and you can pick one out and take it home with you.
Mm-hmm. I think Cheryl's going to go, and I don't know if I can make it, but hopefully.
On March 28th, there's going to be an Easter extravaganza
Uh-oh.
at the Maplewood Center.
Tell us
Sponsored
more.
by the library, the Maplewood Center, and the Kiwanis.
Mm-hmm.
I think it runs from 2 to 4. There'll be a charge. Admission charge would be $3. If you have a family, up to 4 kids can come in for $5 total.
Mm-hmm.
If you got more than 4 kids, then they're going to have to pay the additional $3. So I guess you can't bring the whole neighborhood and say, this is my family.
Right.
But they will have a limit of only 150 kids, and the kids will get a chance to do an Easter egg hunt. They'll get a goodie bag. There'll be crafts and stuff, face painting,
Oh, wow.
all kinds of entertainment, things for them to do. So,
And then they're going to have Kids Day in the park for them.
yeah, and also the Easter Bunny will be there for pictures.
Wow.
Which will be
A
free.
lot of kid stuff coming up.
And Kiwanis and whoever we can rope into it on March 10th is having an egg stuffing party at Maplewood Center, because we figure about 10 eggs per kid, 150 kids. We got about 1,500 eggs plastic eggs to put a couple pieces of candy in and get them ready for that day. So
Wow.
we can certainly use all the help we can get.
Yeah, you'll want to put that out there.
And that'll probably be in the community room.
Mm-hmm.
On March 29th, we have our comedy night
Yep. That's always a fun night.
at Albert's on the Alley.
Mm-hmm.
On May 2nd, this is just more an internal event for District Kiwanians. We are having our prayer breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be at Amatea's, catered by Amatea's. On May 16th, we have Kids Day in the Park, as you mentioned.
Yep. That's a big deal.
That'll be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nice show that day, but I don't think there's going to be an overlap time, so they're not going to interfere with each other.
Oh, okay.
And traditionally, we've had a lot of good stuff for kids. We've had 3 or 4 bouncers. We've had a wall climbing. We've had face painting. We've had magic shows. We've had comedians. We've had child ID programs. We've had scavenger
hunt. Yep.
So there's a
ton of stuff.
A plethora of stuff to do. On May 28th, we're having our anniversary dinner at the Straight Field House, at which time we will be dedicating the Memorial Walkway.
Oh yeah, that's a nice.
So that's going to start about 5:30. Hopefully, dedication at 6, dinner about 6:30, and then on May 30th, the community will be coming out for May 30th and 31st for Relay for Life.
Yeah, Relay
That's
for Life.
Announcements.
Already coming up. Wow. Yeah, I think they're having their rally pretty soon too. So.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Moving on here. I want you to mark your calendars for some upcoming shows. We got a couple that are scheduled here. February 19th, like I said, representing the 11th District, which includes Garden City, Inkster, part of Dearborn Heights, part of Westland, and part of Livonia. We're going to have our newly elected state rep, Julie Plawicki, here. So that'll be next week. As you know, she replaced David Kinesic, who is now our state senator, and he replaced Glenn Anderson. So we'll see how she's settling in on her new job. And then the following week, on February 26th, I just scheduled Lindsay Fricke's going to be here. She is the youth librarian at the Garden City Library, and she does a great job over there. She's going to come here with her schedule of events that she has planned so far for the kids. So looking forward to meeting Lindsay.
She's involved with that Easter extravaganza.
Yeah, she is really involved over there. She's done a great job, young girl over there. So looking forward to that. Now, look, if you're interested in coming on the show, we'd love to have you. You might be interested in coming on and sharing your story, or maybe you own a business or you provide a service you'd like to share with the surrounding communities. Then now is the time to contact us so we can get you scheduled for an upcoming show. If you're interested, just drop us an email at gccommunitychat@gmail.com. We'll shoot you some dates that are available, and it's that simple. You can also get a hold of Richard, too, anytime if you want to come on the show, talk to Richard, and he'll hook you up, or Mike, too. So we look forward to hearing from you. I mentioned the Garden City Business Alliance. They're going to be having their next meeting Friday, February 13th at 6 p.m. at the Straight Farmhouse in the Grand Parlor, and that's located at 6221 Merriman Road. That's just north of Ford Road. They urge all businesses to attend and come and see what they're all about. Bring some business cards because networking is always welcome. If you're interested in joining or you'd like more information about the GCBA, check out their website at gardencitybusinessalliance.org, or you can email them at gcbusinessalliance@gmail.com. Remember, we will upload this show when it's made available to our Facebook page at facebook.com/gcchat. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/communitychatshow. And while you're there, why not subscribe? I did want to mention that calendars are still available, the new 2015 calendars from the Garden City Garden Club. And by the way, Miss February is my wife, Cheryl, Mrs. Chat. And you can see that on the...
She's on our fridge.
Oh, is she? Cool. Yeah, she's hanging on the wall down there. But it's called Garden City Garden Club Paints It Up in the Garden. They are available at Lucky Dog Luxury Daycare Boarding, 5921 Middlebelt Road in Garden City. You can give them a call at 734-261-7387, or you can order through their contact page on their website at gcgc.weebly.com. Remember to include your name, phone number, email address, and how many you would like. Calendars are still only $12, but if you mention GC Community Chat, you can get 2 for $20, so that's a good deal. And they thank you for their support. Richard, you got anything else? Mike?
Nope.
Well, I think it's ready to call it a podcast.
Podcast.
Well, I thank everyone that participated in tonight's show. Big thanks to State Representative Robert Kosowski. Always a pleasure to talk with him. Also, thanks to my co-hosts Richard and Tom. Great job as always, and Joey and Holly. And also Mike Jones, thanks for joining us tonight. Always a pleasure to have you stop by. And thanks to everyone who hung out in the chat room with us. We really appreciate it. Remember, for the latest weather, you can go to DopplerTomsWeather.com. Did you ever check his website out?
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice website.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of information on there. It does a good job. Also, if you have a show idea or a guest you'd like us to try and get on, be sure to send us an email at gcommunitychat@gmail.com. We'll do our very best to provide that for you. So we hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Remember, the success of a community.
Easy for you to say.
Success of a community depends on the community, so please support your local businesses. And also, if you see something, say something. Look out for one another out there. And check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/communitychatshow. So on behalf of Richard and Joey and Tom and Holly and Mike, thanks for listening. Take care and see you next Thursday right here on TalkShoe.com.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks, everybody in the chat room. Sneezy, it's good seeing you, buddy. Dopper Tom, Guest 4, and everybody else, thank you. See you next week.
I think I might have broke your tripod. Probably have a nice shot of the wall or something.
Huh? No, it's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there we are. See?
Yeah.
We're good. We're good. I think I'm going to stop it. All right, say bye.
Move my car so the state representative.